Hello, everyone. This is Arcacia with Apache, and we are doing an Apache Family Spotlight. This is a monthly event that Apache's trying to start off here, and we have the Repke family, that's Micah and Johanna Repke, that are joining us, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their homeschooling journey, and we're going to ask them some questions and kind of give everybody a aspect of what certain families' homeschooling journey looks like. If you guys are interested in being part of our family spotlight, you can email us to apachecentralillinois.org, or you can send us a private message on Facebook, and we would love to sit down and have some time with you guys, family too, on what your guys' homeschooling journey looks like. So in the meantime, we're going to sit here and talk with Johanna and Micah. Johanna, Micah, why don't you just introduce yourselves by telling us how many kids you have and how long you guys have been married?
Yeah, we have 6 kids, ages 11 to 2. We've been married for 12 years. And so 6 kids in 9 years, yeah.
Very busy family. So why did you guys start the journey of homeschooling? What brought you guys on the homeschooling journey?
I think when making the decision to homeschool, we realized, and we talked about it a lot, even before we were married, what, our thoughts were individually. But we both realized that, it's not just our job as parents to educate our kids academically, but also spiritually. And we have really felt like for our family, the best place to do that has been our home. So did you want to add anything?
Yeah, that's why my parents homeschooled me. So for me, I definitely was committed to home education as a principal, but it's also just what I was familiar with as well. And Johanna somewhat too, although you've had a more of a mixture in your upbringing.
Yeah, we both always appreciated the idea of homeschooling, and we figured that would work for us, so we gave it a go.
Well, that's interesting too that you guys mentioned that you're second generation homeschoolers. Micah, you were homeschooled when you were younger. What is the difference in your homeschooling journey that you had when you were younger compared to the times that we're living now, where we don't have as many second generation homeschoolers? A lot of homeschoolers now are just learning about it and just being familiarized with it, and especially with COVID happening too. So there's a lot of people that aren't familiar with homeschooling. So what has been your experience with homeschooling before as a young child, and then now being the home educator in your family?
Yeah. Now I appreciate the headache and the hard work that Mom put in to home educate me and my siblings. I was a firstborn, so more of your ideal student. Self-driven, self-motivated. I was picking up more courses than Mommy, or the curriculum even required of me. But I definitely had siblings that were not the ideal student. And now I have my own children. Some of them are ideal students and other ones not so much. But it is hard work. But I get to look back at my siblings and see the results. So I know what we're working towards because I've seen it, and it also helps me not be afraid that my kids won't turn out. Believe it or not, my siblings all turned out. So I think my kids will be fine by the grace of God.
Right, definitely. So that kind of leads us into our next question. So what approach do you guys take in your homeschooling journey with your homeschooling your kids?
So yeah, for us, it's been a kind of a combo approach, and it's actually really evolved as we've even started. I thought it was going to look one way, and then, something wasn't working out with curriculum, so we'd have to switch. So, when it comes to history and science, we take more of a natural learning approach in our environment with trips and such at this age, with our kids being, 11 on down. And then when it comes to English and math, it's more of a school at home kind of approach with workbooks. Is just how I teach better, and it seems to be how most of them learn better. And then we also love to game school, do a little bit of unschooling in there. So yeah, we're a bit eclectic.
That's how I classify myself too, as an eclectic homeschool, because I like to hodgepodge it all together and create stuff that really benefit my kids and how they learn.
Yeah.
So what is your
Yeah.
favorite part of your homeschooling?
For me, it's just the ability to, I don't have to follow someone else's schedule. I get to make up my own schedule. If grandma stops by at 11 o'clock in the morning and, you know, we can just put things on hold. And, you know, I had my kids pull their school books out on Saturday because that's what just worked for our family and our calendar. And we're able to school year round. One of our little guys is in therapy, so it's nice to have that flexibility. Early intervention type therapy, sorry. And so it's just nice to have that flexibility of being able to, well, let's get something done at 5 o'clock while we're getting dinner going. So I do like that a lot. And then taking road trips when we want to in the middle of the week, you know, something that we wouldn't be able to do otherwise. Did you have a favorite part?
Yeah, and I'd just add that, you know, we can tailor the training and curriculum and the pace for each child. And, you know, because everybody learns with their own styles and at their own pace, and it is nice to be able to take each child and customize things a bit for their particular strengths and weaknesses.
I love the fact that you mentioned flexible scheduling, and a lot of people love that about homeschooling, is that homeschooling really is flexible with your schedule. Whatever works best for your family works for you. And then you mentioned also about, you know, road tripping. I'm currently in Oklahoma visiting my brother. And, you know, it's nice that we were able to take off a week from school and just to be able to visit family. I plan on taking my kids to a little hometown that I grew up in years and years ago. I mean, tomorrow I'm going to be seeing a friend of mine that's haven't seen in 33 plus years. And we've been able to do that because we're homeschoolers. And we can just, it fits into our schedule, which is really nice that my kids can have these kind of experiences. So that's definitely a plus. And I totally, wholeheartedly agree with you on those. So we're mentioning what our favorite parts of homeschooling is. We also have those struggles. I mean, I don't think any parent or any homeschooling parent will tell you, well, homeschooling is perfect and you don't struggle at all. And there's just, everything is so easy and just comes along just so nicely. There are those struggles. So why don't you share with us a struggle that you have noticed or that you've had in the past or are currently going through? It would be nice to kind of encourage our viewers who are currently homeschooling.
Sure. You know, I think one of the hardest things has been some of the different learning challenges that our kiddos have faced. You know, we have a couple that are dealing with, one dealing with dyslexia, ADHD, another one we have a child with Down syndrome. And so just dealing with their different learning struggles is not just, you know, it's something that we have to work through together, and we don't always have the answers. And I think when there's a smaller pool of people, me and my husband, it can be like, well, we need to figure out where we can get help. So we have to be a little extra creative in that way. And, you know, we do our best to succeed in that way. The kids are making great progress. And that's one of those things that's nice, because when you see your hard work, you know, the flip side of that is you see your hard work paying off and the kids learning things and gaining those skills. And it's just amazing to be able to see that. But it's not without its struggle too, because of all those different learning challenges. And then, you know, you throw in there too, the fact that we have 6 kids at varying learning levels. And, you know, I kind of have more sympathy for those, you know, one-room schoolhouse back in the day when they had the one-room schoolhouse. You know, that's kind of how it is as a homeschool mom when you have several kids at different learning levels. So it's something that I'm growing in. So
yeah, definitely. It reminds me of what Paul said in one of his letters, is count it all joy with your trials and tribulations. And I mean, homeschooling, there are going to be trials that you go through, and it's different. I mean, he doesn't say be happy about it. He says just count it all joy, and just reminding us to be joyful and relying on Christ in those struggles and in those times of hardship. So definitely, I can definitely relate with you guys there.
One of my favorite.
So do you have any favorite curriculum that you enjoy, that you just, you know, that treasure trove that you're like, this is it, this is the curriculum that I absolutely love and I will use it all the time?
So what we have been using lately that's worked the best for us is ACE School of Tomorrow. And that's in over 50% of our homeschooling is what we use the PACES for. And that's another thing I love about homeschooling is you don't have to use all of one thing. You can take from different things what works for your family. So that has helped me as a teacher stay on track, and the kids really love to be able to have their own, something that they're doing specifically, and that's a great curriculum for that. Also, Easy Peasy All-in-One School, Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschool was a lifesaver for getting kids that were struggling with reading. And so that's huge for us, and that's free, and you just Google Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschool. Other free internet resources like Khan Academy, Starfall, let's see, Teacher Monster How to Read, some other, games. We love to play games. So those are some of our favorite resources.
That sounds great. Those are some great tips for some homeschoolers that are looking for some different curriculum choices that they may want to try out. So we're getting ready to close here with this interview, but one final question I have for you is, what piece of advice would you offer to homeschoolers out there? Because I know I'm always encouraged when I listen to other homeschooling families and their struggles and their joys and just getting different tips from them. So I know it encourages me. So if there's a piece of advice that you could offer a homeschooling family, what would that be?
I feel like if I could go back and do something differently, it would be to have told myself 10 years ago, even though your kids are not in school yet, put it in the budget. Put homeschooling resources in your financial budget. Then you're not, when it's time to homeschool, you're not going, well, what can we afford? And of course, those questions are still going to be there no matter what, but you're giving yourself more options when you do that. And then for people who are just in the throes of things, kind of like us, I mean, the thing that I encourage myself with the most is I say, okay, I need to keep my eyes on Christ, even through these struggles, these tribulations, these, because everybody deals with that, whether you're homeschooling or not. And I know there's this thought of, well, are we doing things the right way? Should we continue homeschooling? Should we do a different form of schooling? And for every family, that's going to be different. But for our family, when I've felt like that, we go, well, keep our eyes on Christ, keep staying the course, listening to my husband talk. It's just encouraging, even his answer to that question about what second generation homeschooling. I don't quite have that as much. I only was homeschooled for a couple years, and then we went and did private school and public school and all that. But it's good to hear that, hey, just because you have a kiddo that's not your stereotypical ideal student, you know what, let them grow at their own pace, and you're going to see the efforts, or you're going to get the fruits of your efforts later on, and you just got to keep your eyes on Christ. So that's what I would say. Would you add anything?
Yeah, I just, and I think this is really, for me, the reason we homeschool is, because it's about the relationship and not about the academics and about the time or about the achievements. And success comes in community. And someone can certainly do something remarkable on their own, but they're never alone. They have people supporting them. They have people who've taught them and trained them to achieve the things that they achieve, or to have the kind of mind that can think through some groundbreaking scientific discovery. They're not doing these things on their own. They're doing it in community, and that's if we put the academics above just being in community and spending time with our kids, then we kind of miss the mark. And so for me, it is both challenging and but also rewarding, to remember to spend that time with the kids and being in community with them. And homeschooling can be as simple as playing an educational game and showing them how to have fun with knowledge, or to research someplace on the globe because, hey, I wonder what life is like in China or something.
Mhm.
And so fostering, just your own curiosity, but also that of your children.
Definitely, those are some great tips for and advice that I know that I will appreciate. And I will be thinking along this week as I'm going along to different activities with my kids. Micah and Johanna, thank you again for joining us. Again, this is Apache's Family Spotlight for the month of November, and we are looking forward to doing this every single month, interviewing a different homeschooling family and what their journey of homeschooling looks like. If you're interested in being part of our Homeschool Family Spotlight, please send us an email, send message us on Facebook. We would love to chat with you and sit down and find out what your homeschooling journey looks like. So thanks again, Micah and Johanna.